Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if this is your first time visiting Yum Yum Africa, you're welcome. I hope you enjoy this video and you like, share and subscribe. Today I'll show you how I make bitter leaf egusi soup. The ingredients we would need for this soup include bitter leaf, which often comes pre-packaged either this way and it could come in various packaging actually. So we have bitter leaf, which I have chopped and I started processing before I decided to make this video. In addition, you would need egusi, which is already grounded. You would need onions, which I'm going to use to process the egusi, and you'll see in a moment. Also, you would need palm oil. You would need vegetable oil, which is optional. Spices of your choice. Today I would be using turmeric, nor powder, salt to taste, coriander powder, and cumin. I would also use grounded crayfish, and for the meat, today I'm using smoked turkey, and in my pot I have goat meat, which I already started adding spices before I decided to make this video. Here I've added turmeric. You can use any meat of your choice. You can use smoked fish, beef, whatever you like. Also, I'll be using tomato sauce. I'll leave a link below for you to watch my video if you like, to see how to make your own tomato sauce. We'll start by processing the bitter leaf. But before that, I will complete adding spices to the goat meat, so that while I'm processing the bitter leaf, the goat meat is also cooking on the gas. I decided to make this video last minute, so that's why I have my setup this way. If you've watched my other videos, you see I have a better setup. Everything is all nicely placed in different bowls and stuff. But because I made this decision last minute, I just decided to put things together. So please excuse me if you watch all my other videos. I hope this works well for you and you enjoy it. So I leave that on the gas to cook while I process the bitter leaf. I started processing the bitter leaf earlier before I decided to make the video, so this is my second step of washing or processing the bitter leaf. So you see, I've already chopped the bitter leaf. When it comes frozen, it comes as frozen whole leaf in whole leaf. and the fibers are very tough because it's already been frozen. So you have to chop it before you start the processing. But if you somehow come across fresh bitter leaf, you can just go ahead and process it because the fibers easily break down as you're rubbing it and processing it with the salt. So to process it, you just wash like you're washing your clothes, just like you see. You add salt and you continue to do that. The salt helps to tender the leaf and the fiber and also help to extract some of the bitter taste of the leaf. And don't be alarmed when you start the first time you're rubbing and processing your bitter leaf. You may notice that it's foamy, like it lathers or something. Don't be alarmed, that is very normal. You don't see it here because I've passed that stage before I decided to do the video. So here I squeeze the juice out of it. The processing of the bitter leaf usually takes a little bit of time, so you have to be patient. You will repeat this process a number of times before I believe your bitter leaf will come to the perfect taste that would work well for the bitter leaf soup. So here, after processing, I'm going to wash the leaf. This will help get some of the bitter taste out also, and then I will taste it to see how how far the processing is gone. So the taste you want to have is, you don't want to lose all the bitter taste and you don't want an overwhelming bitter taste. The perfect balance for me is when you taste the leaf and it's barely bitter, barely bitter. That is the perfect taste. But of course, you can work the leaf to meet the taste, to meet your taste really. But you don't want the bitter taste to be overwhelming, and then you don't want to get rid of all the bitterness, and it just makes the soup very bland. And of course, that would not be bitter leaf soup at the end of the day. So I repeat this process because it's still quite bitter. And this is what you do. You just repeat the process, or you can be a little bit patient and just walk the leaf a little bit longer so that you can cut down the number of times you have to wash and taste, and process and wash and taste. Yeah, so you can cut that down. But here I had to do it a few times before I was satisfied with the taste. Now I check it again. And now I'm very happy with the taste. It's barely bitter, but there's still that bitter taste in it. The bitter leaf is ready to be added to the soup, but we're gonna keep it aside for now. Now I check the goat meat, which was cooking earlier. So I check it to see if it's well cooked. So the smoked turkey is already cooked, but I like to blend all my meats together. And if I was using fish as well, I would add it here together to blend all the flavors of the meat and the fish that I'll be using to cook the egusi soup. I'll add the smoked turkey and I add some water and let it cook for a little while, say about 5 to 10 minutes. So all the flavors blend. So let it stay for about 5 to 10 minutes. And while that is going on, I go ahead and I process the egusi paste. Instead of water, you can use water here to mix your egusi. What I find when you use water, the egusi in the soup, like when you have to pick up a piece of egusi and you eat, it usually tastes a little bit bland, and the onions I find makes a difference. So you can decide to use water here, but I advise that you use onions and you will see the difference. Just in case you're wondering why I have my blender over my oven gloves, my blender is a high power blender and it makes a lot of noise. So I just dampen that noise with my oven gloves. I just haven't found something else to use. So this works well, and so why not? Take your time in making the egusi paste. It needs a lot of mixing and making sure it's nice and smooth as much as possible. But it's important to mix it really good and be patient doing that. Sometimes when you buy your egusi or you have stored it for a little while, you would find it, it kind of clumps up together. So when you're making your paste, you have to be very patient to break all those lumps, and so that you can have a fairly smooth paste. If you notice, you can see how I'm pressing my spoon against the bowl. That's to help break any lumps there are in there, and also help to make sure that it turns out very creamy and smooth. So the paste is ready. Now I check on the goat meat and smoked turkey. It looks perfect to me, and so the next thing would be to go ahead and then just start making the soup proper. So I've turned that out of the pot because I was planning on using the same pot. So here I'm going to add palm oil to the pot. I'm cooking a large pot of bitter leaf egusi soup. So my measurements and the ingredients are portioned to match the quantity that I'm making. So feel free, of course, to play with that measurement to meet your needs. So this large pot should feed at least 8 to 10 adults. Just to give you an idea of the pot, maybe you're not able to, estimate the quantity properly, but this should be able to feed about 8 to 10 adults. I like to add onions in my palm oil. It helps to enhance the flavor of the palm oil, and sometimes when the palm oil has some kind of a harsh taste, the onions also helps to kind of reduce that harshness, and I find that it helps to enhance the taste overall. So you fry the onions. This is optional. You fry the onions until it turns brown or light brown, and you scoop the onions out, because that's the purpose. It's just to help enhance the flavor, nothing else. So at this stage, this is where I add my vegetable oil, which is optional. You don't have to use vegetable oil, but I like to use vegetable oil, so I add a little bit. I find that the vegetable oil also adds to the taste of the soup and also enhances the final look of the soup. That's just me, okay? Here we fry the egusi paste. What I find is When you fry the egusi, instead of just dropping it into the pot of soup, when you have added your tomato sauce, it helps the egusi uh, to crumble in, I mean, to break in pieces that are not too crumbly and all scattered all over the soup. That's what I find. So, but this is the method that I prefer. So once you have scooped the egusi into the palm oil, you allow it to fry until it's kind of like light brown on one side, and then you flip it over and also let it turn light brown on the other side. And once that is done, then you can stir it up, and it breaks into nice chunks that are not too fine. You know, they're nice chunks that makes the egusi soup really look nice. It's probably too brown. It's just my pot. You can also reduce the heat here if it's a problem. But this is fine. It's no problem though. We give it time to cook and fry properly. So the way to know if this is ready is when you break a piece and it doesn't look like the paste you put in. It looks like it's already cooked. Then that is fine. As you can see, you can't find any piece looking like the exact paste as it was put on in the oil initially. Now you can mix it, and you can break the pieces into sizable chunks. This is the advantage of frying it. You can have it in nice chunks rather than being very crumbly and almost powdery even sometimes. At this stage, we add the tomato sauce. For this large pot, I'm adding about 4 to 6 cooking spoon of tomato sauce. You can add a little bit more or less depending on the taste you're looking for, but I find that 4 to 6 is good for a pot of this size. So I'm adding some of the broth from the goat meat and the smoked turkey. I also add some water. And I let it cook for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now I add the bitter leaf. I'm using about 2 to 3 cups of bitter leaf. Then I add some water, and this of course will help cook the bitter leaf soup, the bitter leaves for about another 5 to 10 minutes. After 5 to 10 minutes, this is what the soup looks like. So I tasted to see if the bitter leaf is soft and tender before I add the meat. And the reason for doing that is that the meat is already cooked. It doesn't need to last too long. If the bitter leaf is still very stiff, you would need it to cook so that you don't have to overcook the meat unnecessarily. Then I add some of the broth. To bring all the flavors together, you let it cook for another 5 minutes thereabout. Before that, I add the grounded crayfish. You taste to see that all the taste is perfect for you. Here I do not need to add any more spices. The spices that I added to cook the goat meat, and also the turkey, the smoked turkey, comes salted. So you have to be very careful with your ingredients or with your spices so you don't add too much. So I often leave that till the end to see if the taste has come together and everything is tasting just the way I like it. If not, then I'll have to add some more spices. But for this, I do not need to. And it's been about 5 minutes. And the soup is ready at this point. You can serve your bitter leaf egusi soup with pounded yam like I'm doing in this video. You can eat it with eba. Some may even eat it with rice, semolina, and just whatever really feels right to you. But generally, those are the types of food that you can eat your bitter leaf soup with. I really do appreciate you guys coming back and watching my video. And if this was your first time watching my video, I hope you really did enjoy it. Please come back for another video and like, share, and subscribe. Thank you so much for coming.